doesn't get the hits, shut it down and move on to something else. So, the headline you were asking, what is going to be the headline for this event? At least for me, it will be the future of sports gaming is Indian. That would be the big headline for me going forward.
Nice. It'll still be in competition with Vikas's Virat is high, right? It's tough competition, that one, but that's a good one. Arvind, let's come to you. With Fantin, obviously you agree with everything that's been said about gaming, but where do you see the future of fantasy sports, the future of sports gaming in the next few years, from what you've learned from your consumers?
Thank you, and thanks for calling us Fantin correctly. So, you coming out with that makes that brand much more better.
I'll send you the invoice, that's fine.
Sure. Thank you. So the ecosystem, the topic that we're talking about is very critical. I mean, obviously we're sitting with a panel that rounds out the ecosystem between tech, marketing, content, and broadcast. But I think when I see the future, today if you start a more traditional business, say retail or something else like that, a lot of the things are already set. You could just get your products through a very set supply chain. You could distribute them through Shopify, and a lot of the ecosystem is in place. So you start innovating on what's most critical to you. But as fantasy gaming operators in the last few years, and this is relevant for most of the people in the room, the 27 odd members of IFSG, we are doing a lot of things ourselves today. Right from simple accounting to KYC to understanding where the customers are coming from. A lot of these things, which are typically table stakes in any established business, are now things that we are building out ourselves. And I'm sure up to a third or 50% of our businesses are focused on that. I see the ecosystem developing more and more, and we are seeing that as we speak, including in the realm of payments and so on, to develop and support this industry. And it need not be just something like a KYC for the gaming industry. It need not be restricted to just the fantasy gaming, but encompass the entire pay-to-play gaming, and that will help the ecosystem tremendously, the operators tremendously, and help us focus on the things that helps us differentiate ourselves from the rest in a good way, and therefore move the ball forward in that way. So where I see this is, again, somebody said in an earlier panel, it's the tip of the iceberg. There's a huge opportunity, not just in the core operator space, but it's also in the provider space, all the allied industries that can form around this. And as things grow, not just the more obvious Hotstars or AWSs or Facebooks of the world, but even in some of the more obscure areas, I see a lot of opportunity for business to grow. And that ecosystem should eventually help us further our reach into the market, go beyond what we now know as tier 1, go and attack the 9 out of 10 non-English non-English users, or the 5 out of 10 non-Hindi users, and really go deep and therefore drive the engagement, which will in turn feed the ecosystem much better. So we are very excited. I mean, some of the things that we are hearing in terms of growth and what we have seen in our own platform in the last few months, very, very encouraging. So I see this growing. I also see a lot of innovation coming. I mean, somebody asked about Bitcoin. I see that innovation also driving this. And eventually it's that innovation in the core areas, while people are doing, while the ecosystem is providing all the support, and which themselves become good, viable businesses. I think that's an exciting thing for us to look forward to.
Yeah, Varun, I want to also talk about, you guys, we were talking earlier about content and gaming sort of complementing each other. Nobody knows that better than Hotstar with the watch and play during IPL 2018. So can you share some insights there of people watching, people playing, any pattern that you saw of consumption there that you could share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I can take a few minutes and just share with you the journey that we've been on and that we're on over the next year or so. So we started out with just going back to first principles. I said, hey, if you're in the stadium, right, the passion and the roar is just really palpable, right? But the vast majority of the fans, hundreds of millions of them, are not in the stadium. In fact,